With the internship, something that I was pretty scared about was going up and meeting all the interns and remembering their names. I want to be honest, Jordan. I had you and Victoria's names switched in my phone for like the solid first 3 weeks. I'm sorry. No, but that's something I was terrified about. Like walking up and be like, oh hey, you, buddy, pal. No, but honestly, if y'all don't know my story, I was sick for a long, long time. Starting in 8th grade, I got real sick going up until my, junior year. And during my freshman year, I missed the most amount of school. I missed 93 days out of the 180 days, more than half the year. It was awful, y'all. But one of the worst parts was I'd be sick at home, and then when I'd feel able to go to school, I'd go to school to get the work to bring home, so I'd go for a full day, and I'd go there and I'd sit in my class, and all the kids there, they'd be like, who's that kid? I'm like, guys, it's me, Logan. But they'd be like, what's his name again? And then the people who knew my name, they'd be like, oh, Logan, where have you been? And after a while, I'd be like, I don't know, man. I'm not telling you my story one more time. But they wouldn't remember my name. And honestly, I wasn't there, so that's not their fault. But it hurt inside because it's not just them remembering my name or forgetting my name. It's them forgetting who I was or me as a person. It's me not being there to put a mark on their life so they actually remember me. And this it leads to you putting your worth in the wrong things. So society has built these boxes for us to put ourselves in. And these boxes go as oh, I'm an athlete. Oh, I'm an artist. Oh, I'm in the band, I'm in choir. You see these groups at school, so they say, oh, what do? You'd be like, oh, I play on the basketball team. For me, it was, oh, I play on the lacrosse team. It's different for all of y'all, but we all have these boxes. So when people say, what do? You say, I do this. Once you get older, that becomes your job, because when you say, hi, my name's Logan, I work at blah, blah, blah. And if we really think about it, that's the main thing of our life. Y'all are all students right now, but in reality, y'all who know God are Christians. And that should be the main point that stands out in your life. There's this term that I've loved since I was younger. It's this term called a misfit. And this term, it has a bad connotation because people think, oh, I don't want to be a misfit. Because that person's different. That person's not cool. But if we think about it, the word actually means a misfit is one who is uncomfortable with his or her surroundings and is disturbingly different than others. He's just different. It just doesn't fit in. And if we think about it, who would be the greatest misfit of all time? Nobody else other than Jesus Christ himself. He didn't fit in at all. He wasn't human. He was half human, half God. He was perfect. He didn't sin. He was so different that he was the only light in a sea of darkness. Everything around him was broken, but he was perfect. He was disturbingly different. He didn't fit into his surroundings. And if you claim to be a Christ follower, if you claim to be a Christian, a child of God, it's not, oh, I might be a misfit. Oh, I might be good enough to be a misfit. It's you are a misfit because you don't fit in at all. Because the Christians of the world are disturbingly different than everybody else. It's amazing. And this leads me to my first point. Point number 1, if you're taking notes. Misfits don't wear masks. Misfits don't wear masks. See, growing up, I lived in Mount Pleasant for a little bit, or for most of my life up until 4 years ago. And my mom was on staff at a church. She was the children's director. So I was what they called a staff kid. So I was at church a lot, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All of them, I was there. And us staff kids are easy to point out among other kids. And this stretches to all Christians if you think about it. But who's with me? You've got your church friends, and your school friends. You guys know what I'm talking about? And if your church friends and your school friends meet, it's the end of the world. See, like, I would go to a movie with my school friends, and I would be the only one asking, what's this rated? Is there cursing in this movie? Will this wane on my spirit? I'm a Christian, I'm a staff kid in a sea of broken people. It shouldn't be like that. Misfits shouldn't be different depending on situations. We should be consistent among all groups of people. Our yeses should be yes, and our no's should be no, not mattering who's around. If you're with your school friends, or your Christian friends, or your teachers, or your parents, it doesn't matter. What you believe and how you act should be the same because they don't matter. The only thing that matters is God Almighty, but I'm getting ahead of myself. That's my third point. See, we put these masks on depending on who we're around, just to try to fit in because we want them to know our name, know who we are, and accept us because we like the attention. These masks are reaches for what we think is attention, but it's really short-term attention. It won't last. How somebody perceives you or how they like you won't last because they will fade away and they will fail you 100% of the time. I have a verse that goes with this beautifully. It's John 15:18 through 20. It goes like this. If the world hates you, know that it has hated me before it hated you. This is Jesus talking. If you were of the world would love you as its own. But because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Remember the word that I said to you, a servant is not greater than his master. If they persecute me, they will also persecute you. If they kept my word, they will also keep yours. We're different. We're misfits of the world. So if you put on a mask to hang with the cool kids, that's not cool because they will fade away. We are not of this world. We're from heaven because God's inside us right now. This brings me to my second point of the night, and that's misfits should rebel. I'm not talking about like turning over cars or anything. No, I'm just talking about sticking out. See, if we think about it, Jesus was the ultimate misfit, but that's not where it stops. No. Jesus was a light in a sea of darkness, but he didn't just be there. No, he took the necessary actions to relieve our distress. He climbed up on that cross so we can live. He climbed up on that cross so things would change around him. He took 12 men and changed the world. Jesus was a misfit, but that's not where he stopped. He also acted on things to change because he didn't like the disturbingly different place he was in. He wanted to change it so people can know him. He was reaching out with his hand and said, join me. Jesus strived for change, and I believe y'all should too. It's hard in high school, it's hard in middle school or in your neighborhoods because we care so much about what people think about us. It's tough. But when you're walking in the hallways, it shouldn't be like, oh, that's Sebastian. That's just Sebastian. That's just Carter. No. He's different. There's something different about him. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but there's something different about that kid. And the truth is, you have something filling that void that we all have, and that's Jesus. So you start to walk a little bit different. You start to act in an authority that God's given you. And once you start to realize that, your whole perspective of why you're doing things changes. Because we're living for God and not living for the people in the world. There's this story that I love that all of y'all have probably heard before when we're little. It's called Where the Wild Things Are. Y'all know that story? Yeah? Well, I'm not going to read it to you, but I'll paraphrase it real fast. See, it starts off with this kid, Max. And Max is this crazy kid wrecking everything in the house. He's that kid sitting in the back of the math class that should be on ADHD medicine, but definitely isn't. Y'all know that kid? Is he in the room? Oh, I don't know. That's you? Yeah. Oh, okay. I see them. They're coming out. See, Max was going crazy. He was going crazy. And his mom said, "Go to your room, Max. You don't get supper tonight." So he went up the stairs and he sat down in his room. And it said a forest started to grow around him. I'm not sure if that's him like imagining or dreaming or whatever, but he found himself in this forest. And he starts exploring the forest and he finds this beach. And there's a boat on the beach with his name on it. So he hops on in and starts sailing away. He's going through the fog and the night, doesn't see anything, and he starts to see this light in the distance. And as he gets closer and closer, he starts to see it's a campfire on a beach. And he gets closer and he starts to see these monsters dancing around the fire. And at this point, I would have turned around, hopped out, swam back to where I came from. But no, Max is different, remember? See, he keeps going, and he hits the beach and he gets out, and he walks up to the biggest wild thing that's there. They're roaring their terrible roar, gnashing their terrible teeth, and he says two words that changes the story. He says, "Be still." Two words. Be still. That's all it takes. He walked in confidence towards the thing that scared him. He walked with confidence to the things that scared him. We shouldn't walk in our own confidence. No. We need to walk in God's. Have confidence in the God that's got us, to the things that scare us in the world, like what people think about us. Do people remember us? Walk up to them, be like, "I'm a Christian." That's what's different. And that leads me, I have a verse that goes along with this perfectly. Romans 12:2. It goes like this. This is one of my life verses that I've read and thought about a lot. It's, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by the testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." Don't change how you act, but walk in the confidence that God's got you. This is my confidence. This should be your confidence. And we're coming to my third point. The God of the universe knows your name. Before I hop into anything, I'm going to read a passage in Psalm 39, 139, 13 through 15. It goes like this. "For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, and I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it is very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth." God made you beautifully and wonderfully and with a purpose. God took time, the creator of the universe. Do you know how big the universe is, y'all? It's ginormous. He made everything individually. And he didn't just make you, he designed you for something that he's called you to. See, Jesus said two things. This is what he's called you to. Love God and love people. None of that has something to do with ourselves. Just like Angel was talking about, if we focus on ourselves, we won't be following God because we'll think about what I need to do. What job do I need to do? But it should be, how can I serve God and love people in the process? And once we stop forgetting about what the world thinks and stop forgetting about what they want from us and start thinking about what does God want, because that's where our worth should come from. You shouldn't care what people think about you because we are disturbingly different from them. We're completely different. We're not from here. No, we're from heaven. And that's where our worth should come from. You should have confidence in God because he created you and knows you. Nobody else matters because God cares, loves, and knows you. And that's what I want to drive today. Nothing should matter because God's got you. He created you in your mother's womb before you. He knows what you've done, what you're doing right now, and what you're about to do. He's got you. Nobody else matters because he's got you. Jesus Christ laid his life down on the cross so you can do what you're about to do. And in my closing, I want to tell you a story that you guys have probably all heard. It's David and Goliath. See, David was at his house and his dad said, "Go give your brothers some food." They were out fighting in the war. So he took the food and he went out there, and when he gets there, everybody's on the sidelines, and there's only one giant monster in the middle, Goliath, challenging them, saying, "Come fight me." And nobody's going, but David went to the king and said, "I will. I'll do it." This little shepherd boy. So the king goes, here's some armor. So suits him up in all the big armor. He said, "No, that's not my style. No, that's not what I do." See, he just had his normal clothes on, his sling that he used to protect his flock because he was a shepherd. And he went out there, went to the river, found some smooth stones, went up to Goliath, walking in God's confidence, walking because God's got him with the power of God. He walked up not in his strength, but in God's strength, swung it around and threw it. And Goliath fell to the ground. Not because of anything David did, not because David was good at his slingshot or whatever, not because he had practice, but because David had faith in God. And that's something, remember the last series we went through, all those people that Jesus healed were healed through faith. That's what y'all talked about at camp, right? Yeah, through faith. Because we have faith in God, if we find our worth in God, if we have confidence in God, we can do whatever he's called us to do, no matter what. So as I'm closing today, I want to call you to walk with confidence in the God above who created you personally. Approach the wild things that scare you in life because you've got the power of the supreme leader of the universe behind you. Stand strong because your worth doesn't come from this world. It comes from the God above. That's what I'm going to leave you with. Bow your heads. Dear God, I pray that you move today in the hearts of all these kids. I pray that you move in their minds. I pray that they stop finding their worth in what the kids think, what their schoolmates think. I pray that you allow them to put their worth in you alone because you created them for great things. I pray that they start to realize that you designed them for wonderful things. I pray that you move in the small groups in the worship, and in your name,